Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a very long time since I've been on this channel. As you may have noticed, we've had quite a few months where there's not been any uploads, numerous technical issues, and I've been away from my computer. So I thought what we'd do is we'd start this new season, if you will, with another introduction into a new sort of series. And I think what would be interesting to do is do a sort of, I'm going to term it a fireside chat, where we look at a question and then we try and answer it as best as we can. And I thought what a better way to start would be to look at popular questions and sort of determine which one would be best. I've been thinking about it off and on, and I think the best place to start would be questioning whether UFOs exist or not. As you know, it's a massively popular topic. Countless YouTube videos on it, talking about all sorts of potential of life, bizarre lights seen in the sky, all that sort of thing. So I think what we'll do is we'll open up Google and we'll type in UFO. I've got my cup of tea here with me, so we're going to have a good night together. We're going to have a little look, going to have a little discovery, and hopefully we'll reach a conclusion. So UFOs, unidentified flying objects. We're not talking about what type of plane that is. We're talking about aliens. Do aliens exist, and have they been visiting Earth for whatever nefarious means? So typing in straight away to the most recent viewings of UFOs, alleged viewings of UFOs, we see quite a few top stories here. We've got all sorts of ones, people saying UFOs shot down in Scotland, people allegedly coming out and saying they launched investigations into UFOs. One guy here talking about how he launched one in 1973, which, you know, nearly 50 years ago, doesn't seem very reliable. But anyway, let's have a look. So we've got UFOs latest news, pictures and signs. Let's have a little look. Again, these are going to be quite informal. I'm going to just kick back, relax. I'm going to add in a few little graphics to the video, it'll make it look alright, and yeah, have a little investigation, really. Just a little chat, little fireside conversation. So UFOs have been sort of in the popular imagination since 1950-ish. With the Roswell incident and all that sort of thing, and I think that'll be an interesting place to start talking, really. So let's investigate this Roswell incident. So as we all know, Roswell, New Mexico, is in America, and oddly enough, that seems to be interesting. A lot of UFO sightings tend to be seen around and in the United States of America. Wonder if that's a cultural thing, if that's a maybe they're just maybe the aliens are just most interested in America, and I'm being a bit cynical. But anyway, let's have a look. So we've got, looking at the town of Roswell, New Mexico. It's quite a small place. Oddly enough, their flags and seals now feature a little green man. Obviously, I think it's similar way to the way West Virginia has the Mothman in quite a lot of its media. It's sort of appropriating it, if you will. So yeah, let's have a look. Roswell, New Mexico UFO incident. So yeah, allegedly mid 1947, the US Army crashed a air balloon. This is the official story, of course. This is what Uncle Sam says. And then later on, sort of people start investigating it, and there's alleged videos of alien autopsies and all sorts of things like that. Now, what do we make of this? Again, and this is sort of like people talk about this is where we get the advanced technology from and stuff like that, and it just seems, and I mean the thing is, it's just a lot of it's conjecture, and there's not a huge amount of evidence. There is this which will now appear on the screen, this alleged FBI document. So it reads: an investigator for the Air Force stated that their so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. Oh, sorry, not there. Three so-called bad text on this. That three so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. They were described as being circular in shape, with raised centres and approximately 50 feet in diameter. Okay, so a typical sort of classic sort of sci-fi UFO and what you'd expect it to be. Also, allegedly, 3 bodies were discovered that were only 3 feet tall, so half the size of a normal human, and dressed in a metallic cloth of a very fine texture. According to Mr. Blank, very suspicious informant, the saucers were found in New Mexico due to the fact that the government has a very high-powered radar set up. So again, I mean, this is just a report of what people allegedly saw. It doesn't look particularly official. It doesn't really make much sense. yeah, like I say, there's a myth behind it, but there's no necessarily real evidence for it. And a lot of UFO stories sort of become based off of this. Then we have the famous abductions of Barney and Betty Hill. This was a couple back in 1961 were abducted by aliens, and you may have heard this one. These guys went under hypnosis and had it retrieved back and that sort of thing. However, later sort of testimonies sort of revealed they probably weren't under proper hypnosis, and they may well have lied about what they said. However, again, read the Wikipedia article because it's interesting, and there's a lot. There's a cute picture there with their dog. Yeah, allegedly she had all sorts of invasive procedures done to her and stuff like that. It's a tragic thing, but it's maybe it's some sort of bizarre mental snap that both of them suffered at the same time. They had amnesia. Another popular theory for this is that because when they allegedly got abducted, they have amnesia from that time period. However, people say it may have been possible for them to stop multiple times, and then to look at this UFO, and then by the times that they had, all the small periods of time they stopped and looked at them, it had accumulated to the time that they thought they had lost. So again, it's just, you have to ask yourself, what's more likely here? Have they suffered a small mental snap, or have they seen a UFO? And for me, it's much more likely that they've seen a UFO. Just kidding, it's more likely they've had a small mental snap, and they're nuts, and no offense, they're Americans and they sort of believe in this sort of stuff. So I mean, looking at this sort of these early ones, it does seem it's so far in the past. There's no real records of it. There's no real evidence to look at and say, okay, well, this happened. There's no videos of, say, a ship landing, little grey men in metallic suits lasering people and probing them. There's just not too much evidence of it as well. And this for me is one of the kickers is to disprove the theory is we talk about cattle mutilation a lot, and quite often cows are the targets of these cattle mutilations, which, you know, an alien could come to Earth and they could see us looking after the cattle, feeding them. They could say, oh, well, they're obviously the subservient race and we're looking after them. Whatever argument you want to make about that. But my thing is that with cattle mutilation, again, it's a question, what's more likely? Has this cattle been mauled on by some sort of animal but done in a slightly precise way? Or is it some sort of a vandalizer, like a rogue farmer or something like that that's come along and started damaging the cattle? And I think that's a lot more likely than extraterrestrial aliens travelling all the way from their planet to Earth to mess about with cows. It seems like a silly thing. Yeah, and looking at alleged UFO footage as well, it's always grainy. There's never any clear evidence of it. Similar to the Bigfoots scenarios, we have just terrible looking videos of essentially what look like just small dots of light, and it's fair enough, because you take a video of the, say, moon on your phone, you'd expect it to look really good, and it always looks really, really bad. But it's still not really. You just expect someone to be able to get some really, really good UFO proof. So, and to be fair, I've been a bit biased here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go onto Google. I'm going to Google the best alien UFO pictures we have, and we're going to see what we can come across. I'll show you these pictures, and we'll see what we think. So, best UFO evidence. And we'll go in videos. Have a little look. Right, so here you go. Now this is on the Independent, which is a newspaper here in England. So the title is US Senator who set up Pentagon's secret UFO unit, quote unquote, now we have scientific evidence. So let's watch this video. Okay, it's a drone footage. Actually, what I'll do is I'll play the video in whole, and then I'll comment after it so we can see it together. You won't get influenced by my opinions, and we can we'll look at it together afterwards. So here's the video.
ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at this thing. It's rotating.
Okay, so looking at the video again, in the just under the target, there is a black admittedly UFO shaped disc, but again, it's the trouble is it's not clear footage. It's not anything like that. It's just a black spot on the screen. It doesn't look to be. it is moving of its own accord. So it's not like a smudge on the screen or something ridiculous like that. It is a strange video, I'll give it that. But again, what are we really to make of it? Is it a UFO, or is it some sort of bizarre plane that's been tested out by the US military? We don't know, I guess. And obviously that's substantial evidence. That's not too bad at all. And I can admire that. That's not bad at all. However, again, what is the video? It's footage from some sort of, it looks like a drone, maybe it's a plane, but it is just a black spot. You can't see into the windows and see an alien sticking its fingers up at you or getting its bum out or whatever. It's just a black spot. Unfortunately, that's all we can really see. So okay, that's quite a recent one. So let's look at a few images as well. Let's see what we've got on the images here. And again, a lot of Google images will turn up. Will be a lot of it looks to be photoshopped or from movies, that sort of thing. Here's a picture of an alleged UFO abductee, Steve Mikalayan. I believe that's pronounced. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But it has grid-like burns on his chest. Now that's admittedly strange, and allegedly he got these after a UFO encounter. Again, you as rather cynical, you could burn those patterns into yourself with, say, a cigarette lighter from a car, and then sell a story for quite a lot of money. And I'm not being cynical, but it seems like that's more than likely what someone would do. It's what I'd do if I was really concerned about getting money and I didn't care about the integrity of actual UFO investigation. But from my little search today, I can't see any major evidence of UFOs. And I think most sightings can be explained away with bizarre weather, or some sort of meteorite, or perhaps even kids messing about, or and I'll accept, maybe the US government at some point has been making these secret aircraft under our noses, or any government has been doing it, which would make sense. You'd want to keep your secret aircraft secret, and if you can dismiss them easily as UFOs, you probably would. So what do I think? No, I don't think aliens have been visiting Earth in UFOs. I do believe in aliens, but I just don't believe they visit Earth in a UFO based on the evidence that the UFO community provides being explained fairly easily. So that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you think back down in the comments. Let me know what you think of this freeform sort of video. Thanks very much for listening. Apologies for the long break, but we'll be back to hopefully a fairly regular scheduled upload sequence now. But no, thank you very much for listening. This is the Unenlightened University signing off.